What's up guys, welcome back to a new Jujutsu Kaisen chapter video. Today we have chapter 164. It wasn't really what I expected the fight to start out like, but quite interesting. A very unique domain expansion coming from Justice Boy, Yuji being more analytical in his fighting, and just a very unique and interesting start of the fight between Higuruma and our boy Yuji. So yeah, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, leave a like. Now let's begin. We get a reminder of how dangerous Higuruma actually is, with him currently having 100 points in the Culling Games, meaning he's killed around 20 sorcerers already. So regardless of his looks and build, he is quite dangerous, and this most likely comes about due to his domain expansion, which he pulls out instantly. I didn't really expect this whatsoever, and I wasn't even sure if he had a domain expansion, but here it is. Looks like all the boys in the Culling Games are going to have domain expansions, and I'm very excited to see Yuji's individual one and maybe how it works with Sukuna inside his body. It's going to be interesting later on in the story, but regardless, Higuruma's domain expansion called Forced Suicide Punishment, a pretty badass name as well, with it being a very unique and different variation of domain expansions. We get this explored, but it starts out with Yuji trying to attack him, but in his domain expansion, violence is prohibited, as it's pretty much a courtroom setting which he creates with it, with Higuruma as the judge, jury and prosecutioner, and Yuji of course the one on trial. We learn a little bit more about domain expansion, how they kinda differed in the past to the present. This is Tengen actually telling Yuji prior to them actually leaving. So we didn't actually see this initially, but this is what Tengen said, that in the past, domain expansions weren't as like a grand almighty power, as currently domain expansions are used as sure hit or sure kill moves, while the ones of the past didn't really have the sure kill factor. Even though this Higuruma person seems to be a sorcerer of the present, he uses a domain expansion that's more akin to ones of the past, which kinda is explained with this sumo reference here. But in summary, Higuruma's domain expansion and ones of the past more so were based around allowing you to land a 100% hit on your opponent, but the ones more so of the present are more extreme and have pushed the limits of Jutsu sorcery to also allow a sure kill method to be added to it, with the downside that they're more risky and harder to pull off, meaning Higuruma's and most likely other sorcerers from the past we're going to see during the Culling Games will use more domain expanses during a individual fight, allowing them to get guaranteed hits on their opponent. But regarding the actual chapter today and how Yuji deals with Higuruma's domain expansion, of course he's on trial for pretty much going into a gambling place when he was underage, a real event with that Shinigami curse thing behind him, knowing the truth of what happened, but Higuruma isn't told what actually happens, as he's more so the prosecutioner in this scenario. So Yuji needs to decide what to claim. He can either go down the path of silence, confession or denial, also having the ability to lie, and he decides to go down the lying route throughout this chapter. He thinks of a way to, try and overcome the evidence that may be provided, which also could be potentially misleading or fake evidence. So there's like a whole lot of mind game stuff here, which is pretty cool. But Yuji decides to lie, saying he only went into the gambling place to go to the bathroom. And then Higuruma opens the evidence to see that there was a photo of him actually trying to deposit or gain money from, his winnings in the place. Thus meaning Yuji's claim is most likely a lie, and the cursed domain expansion has found Yuji guilty. From there we actually leave the domain expansion, but this time Higuruma's hammer kinda transform, or has the ability to transform, with Yuji pointing out cursed energy has been implemented in it, and then Higuruma lands a direct strike on Yuji, doing a little bit of damage as it sends Yuji flying back, but also does something else. It pretty much has stolen his cursed energy as well. So I'm guessing if someone is found guilty in Higuruma's domain expansion, it allows Higuruma to use his hammer to land a strike, which in turn steals their cursed energy, and then most likely after that he will be strong enough to actually defeat and kill them. I'm also guessing next chapter we're going to see Higuruma use a domain expansion again perhaps, and Yuji go through a similar scenario and actually overcome it perhaps, which maybe gives his curse energy back. However, if that isn't the case, I think Yuji will still be pretty fine, and it's kinda a counter to Higuruma's domain expansion here, as this is pointed out all the way back in early Jujutsu Kaisen by I believe Megumi, who talks about if everyone lost their cursed energy, Yuji would be by far the strongest. As we know, ever since like the first chapters, Yuji is a physical powerhouse without cursed energy, so that alone may be enough to actually overcome Higuruma, which is going to be pretty interesting. But yeah, a very interesting and unique start of the fight, and yeah, pretty cool. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to subscribe, join the Discord, follow the Twitter, and as always, shout out to the people who support the channel via the Patreon. But yep, that's it guys, peace.